Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something a little bit different. DiD's U.S. Civil War Union Army Lieutenant John Dunbar, who was Kevin Costner's character in the movie Dances with Wolves. I don't collect Civil War figures, but I had at one time thought I would try to collect figures, military figures from throughout U.S. history, and so that's why I got this one. So let's take a look at what we've got. As usual, DiD's cover on the back is a backdrop for what it's worth. And here's another picture of the figure. And here is the figure. He is wearing, this was referred to as the shell jacket. It was very popular with mounted troops such as cavalry or horse-drawn artillery. In this one it does have snaps, so these are not actual buttons, which is a relief because buttoning all those would have been a nightmare. Let's see, get that one. So, decent likeness of Kevin Costner as John Dunbar. He's got the yellow stripes denoting he's in the cavalry. Let's see. He's got a slouch hat. This little leather notebook. This is, I believe this is an ammunition pouch. And then this little tiny thing, I think this is a compass pouch, although I don't think we are given a compass to go in it. By the way, we've got all the insignia, a bunch of bullets, I guess, to go in that pouch. So, shoulder tabs, and that goes on the hat. We got a spyglass, pistol, and holster. This threw me for a loop because it's backwards, so I did some research, and back then they made left-handed holsters also, so this is a left-handed holster. Cavalry gloves in yellow. He's got a rifle. And a sword. Cavalry sword. And suspenders, which I probably won't worry about since you can't see them. Let's see what else he's got. So he's got a officer's overcoat, officer's sash. This will be fun to put on. Here is a vest. Now, one thing, even though it would have been a nightmare, the one thing we don't have the option to do is there was a variation on the uniform where they would wear the vest underneath the shell jacket, and the shell jacket would be unbuttoned so you could see the vest underneath it. That would have been a cool way to display them. He's got his dress belt with these sword slings. Then he's got his regular belt with a shoulder strap. It's unfortunately, this does not have sword slings on it. So, and then we've got some extra hands. So, trigger hands, and that looks like a left-handed trigger hand. I assume if he has a left-handed pistol holster, he's left-handed. So that's all that comes with him, and I'll put them together and we'll take a look at them. So here is Dunbar, and I have him posed without his pistol or the shoulder strap. I do have a book on uniforms that shows one of these guys dressed exactly as he is shown here. So I know that is correct. The one thing to note on this figure is normally his sword would be hanging down here almost horizontally, and that's how it would be when he's on a horse. However, there is this little hook here that you can put this top ring into that little hook, and it's a little bit difficult. It's a small and tight hook, but it puts the sword in a more vertical position when he's dismounted. The other thing to note, his officer's sash, it should be twice as long as what DiD made it. It should go around his waist around about 4 or 5 times. It only makes it around 2 times. It's a little bit difficult putting it on. In real life, he would have either had a friend or an orderly assisting him. And the other thing of note on his sash, DiD shows it tied in a knot right here, and the belt does not fit over it when it's in a knot. But you can go online. There's lots of Civil War reenactors, and there's instructions on how to properly fasten the sash so it lays flat. So, and that's what I did. The other thing is I originally had his gloves on, but they're a very tight fit and they appeared really bumpy. The buttons were on his sleeves were pressing through, and it just didn't look good. So he's back to just holding them in his hands. So also, the other thing to note is this yellow stripe. That denotes he's in the cavalry. The U.S. Army used the system of colors to denote which branch they were in. I believe artillery was red, cavalry was yellow, and then there was another color, I don't know what it was, but for infantry and so forth. So there he is in his shell jacket, and here he is with his coat. Here he does have his shoulder strap, but it's hard to see. And you can't see, but he does have his pistol on. You can see it hanging down here. The bottom of the coat and the bottom of this cowl all the way around is wired, so you can shape it. So I've got it kind of like blowing in the wind. And of course he's holding his rifle. It's not the best. I don't know if you could see it with his brim hanging down so low. It's not the best head sculpt, but that didn't bother me too much. There is one thing, however, on this figure that I think is really, really bad, and I almost did not buy the figure because of it. But at the end of the day, you know, sometimes you just have to go with what's offered. And the one thing on here that is really bad is his hat. And I did some research to make sure, you know, I was correct. Their hats, the Army regulation hats, they were wool felt. What this looks like is exactly what it is. It's a latex, and it looks cheap. It looks like something a cheaper figure company would have made, not DiD. And what really makes it egregious is that DiD can do better, and because they have done better in the past. About 10 years ago, they did a felt campaign hat for a World War I figure, which I've got here, and it looks like it's supposed to look. This hat does not look like it's supposed to look. So that's very disappointing. But other than that, I think it's a great figure. Some people probably would not be too upset over the hat. So, but like I said, at the end of the day, you know, there aren't very many Civil War figures out there, and so you kind of have to either go with that or take what you can get. So there you have it, Lieutenant Dunbar. Overall, I am happy with him. This is probably the only Civil War figure I will ever get. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.